The following SpongePod is brought to you by the Salty Spittoon. Hey, Tim, do you like to put the smackdown on some church boys?
Smackdown? Church boys? What's that?
Hey, do you like to eat glass and break cables for breakfast?
No, that sounds terrible.
Well, either way you have it, use one of those methods to get into the Salty Spittoon. With Reg watching the front door so no weenies can get in, the Salty Spittoon is a key place in Bikini Bottom to get your tough on.
Is that the only option? Because I'd prefer to be tough but not eat glass.
Only one option. Break cables, glass. You got to have a tattoo on your arm that has your mom's face on it.
Right.
I mean, are you a church boy or are you a tough boy, Tim?
I think I'm a church boy if those are my options.
Go to the Salty Spittoon to beat the snot out of Tim.
Oh!
And welcome to the SpongePod, the official, unofficial podcast of SpongeBob SquarePants, where we overanalyze every single episode and get down to the bikini bottom of your fan theories. I'm your host and in-house SpongeBob expert, Eric. Are you ready, Tim?
Aye, Captain.
Oh yeah, it's October. It is the 10th month of the year. How you doing, Tim? Doing all right?
Feeling good. Again, October, fall coming up.
It's the best time of the year.
The best time of the year.
It really is.
Agreed.
It really is. We're so happy to be here with you here on the SpongePod. Back and better than ever. Going 6 episodes strong now?
Yes.
So we're happy that we're back. Quick shout out to Jake and Aaron Livingston. I just learned that they're listening. That's super cool. Hope you guys are enjoying this SpongePod. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, or send us an email at thespongepod@gmail.com. We would just love to hear all of your ideas, all of your theories, be able to express it on the show like all the other fake people that we give a platform for.
And by fake people, I definitely mean real people on the internet.
Exactly. So my opening thoughts here are, Tim, how much do you like to sweat?
Like almost none at all.
Like we could almost do a Timmy 10 of like the worst things in the world. And I feel like sweating would be on the top of the list.
It would be in there.
That's a primary reason why I've gained an insane amount of weight since I graduated high school. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen me since high school, but oh boy.
I've seen you since high school.
Chunks galore. And most of it is just, I just don't like sweating. I love working out. Yeah. I love like, getting in there, being competitive. I like, focusing on music, but boy, do I not like to sweat or smell weird. And that's what this episode's about. This episode today, we are tackling MuscleBob BuffPants, a great episode where we get to see some really strange amount of strength from our dear SpongeBob, or lack of strength. That is. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a good day. Let's check out this episode together. Let's jump right into the first act. SpongeBob is in his pineapple making strongman poses in front of his mirror right before attempting a power clean of 2 teddy bears. In an attempt to get stronger, Sandy comes over to tell SpongeBob that his workout regimen isn't too swole for the swole standards, and she invites SpongeBob to come work out with her. SpongeBob imagines how much better his life would be if he could be buff, and he agrees to work out. This is a pretty interesting start. So this is just jarring right off the bat. I mean, SpongeBob is like not strong at all, which, by the way, we should know. I mean, like the pounds on that bar. So a standard metal bar is like 45 pounds. Mm-hmm. 2 teddy bears are like what? Maybe like less than a pound.
Less than a pound.
So at most it's like 45 pounds, right? And SpongeBob struggles at 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is jarring because he works at a fast food place, which later on, a little spoiler, like he struggles to pick up a drink. So how is he managing his spatula?
Oh, his spatula? I mean, I was even thinking like, how does he manage to like pick up boxes of patties?
Like open the front door.
Right, exactly.
Like he's lucky that they don't have to cut the grass in Bikini Bottom because it's just, sand. But like, how does he do most of the chores if like the max that he can lift above his head is 47 pounds.
And barely even that. Barely like really struggle to do that. It's just jarring. Also, I didn't know Sandy was so jacked. She's swole. She's hip. She's a swole nation.
She pounds out those reps and the big bars. She puts them over her head. No, but it's crazy because I didn't know that muscles could retract. Because she kind of lifts her suit, and her suit is just like containing this just goddess of a body.
I love that it's like human. They're like human black man arms.
Yeah. Yeah. Why'd you go with black man?
I don't know. He looks black. The skin is black. That's what it looks like in the episode.
Okay. Squirrel, with big black man arms. You heard it first here from Tim. What a great moment. Anyway, how much do teddy bears weigh anymore underwater, do you think? Like a soggy teddy bear.
Well, but that's the thing that is more. Like, but then it's kind of offset by like gravity.
That's right? True. So oh man, I didn't even think about that.
Easier to
like a 45-pound bar. I mean, like I don't want to, be Zach Galifianakis in that GIF, but I don't know the math on like. Well, I mean, would it weigh nothing?
I don't think it would weigh. I mean, there would be something there, but by and large,
oh my gosh! So are we like, because the anchors would still work. I mean, anchors still work.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh man. I think we just uncovered this episode. So I think that nobody's actually strong in this universe.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
They all just think they're being strong.
Because they don't have like air resistance that we have like on Earth. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we could go and take over Bikini Bottom with just like an average group of people.
Oh yeah, it'd be easy. Just pick them up. I don't know.
Just pick them up. All right. What'd you find on the internet?
All right. So this is we got a long one here for this fan theory, but this is a fan theory from Pumpin' Iron Chef 22819'8172628 #swole on gnc.com. He or she says, this was a way for the writers of SpongeBob to endorse the usage of steroids. This was a popular topic back in the day, and they were paid by all the steroid companies to brainwash kids into thinking that it was acceptable.
Wow.
That's a deep one. That's a big one.
That's a deep pull.
Deep pull.
Yeah. I was a kid at this time. I don't think I was really, and I was playing football. I don't think that when this came out, that is not at the time of you listening to this. I'm not a kid right now. But I don't think I really pursued steroids. I did pursue creatine, which we talked about recently, which was kind of funny because the way they pitched creatine, it was basically like you aren't going to get stronger, but you're going to look bigger. And for some reason, I thought that works.
That's the ticket.
That's exactly what's going to make me look like TJ Watt. The difference is I'm just going to pump water into my muscle, right? Essentially, and look jacked. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not too hard to brainwash a kid.
No,
and SpongeBob would be the place to do it. Mm. But I'm not sure if acceptance of steroids was necessarily the goal of this episode.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it's a little anti-steroids because he tries to do the instant
he
muscles.
Sort of cheats and it doesn't work out for him. At the end of the day, he still has to do, Sandy's workout, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving right on to the second act. In Sandy's tree dome, SpongeBob is working out only to have his arms fall off when he completes only one push-up. Sandy puts SpongeBob through a series of elaborate and wildly overcomplicated workouts before SpongeBob sneaks away from Sandy to go home and rest. While at home, SpongeBob hears an advertisement on the television for anchor arms and decides to let this be the way around being physically fit. SpongeBob walks all over town with his new arms, scaring the neighbors and wowing the buff guys at the beach working out. Now, first off, I gotta say, this is just a great premise. It's just so funny that SpongeBob can't be strong,
right?
And he buys something for $14.95 on an infomercial, and all of a sudden, he's perfect.
Right, yeah.
Right? His problems have been solved.
Exactly.
Which, all of us in the, chunky camp, we would love that. I would love if I could just spend I'd even probably do a subscription service. How much a month would you spend to look skinny?
I don't know. It'd be up there. I don't know.
What do you think? Up there? What's up there for Timmy?
I said up there, and then I was like $20. So that's
that's not up there. What's real up there for you?
I mean, like 100.
You'd spend 100. I'd probably spend 100.
I would.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know if I would spend 100 though, but that would
definitely would. I've spent 100 in worse ways. If it means that I can still go to like McDonald's every other night, then sure, that's true. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting little premise. So I wonder if they're trying to set up a company here to say, hey, like if you want a real audience, just offer a good looking body for a subscription, like not even a subscription service as we saw. Yeah. Like he just gets them in the mail and they look great.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like the weird thing is like these things actually affect his strength because previously like we couldn't see him lift anything, but now he's like walking on his arms.
Oh yeah, I guess that does show his strength. Yeah.
It's just jarring. Maybe like with the fake arms, he realized that like water is like zero gravity.
Right. Yeah. It finally fixed him.
Yeah. And like he just like, well, I have these fake arms, but I also learned, hey, nothing weighs anything down here. So I don't know what the problem is. Yeah. Also, they showed this like arm cruncher thing, and it's essentially you put your arms in, and it just like smashes your arms. I'm wildly confused by that machine.
Like, what is that? How does that help?
And the funny thing is, I feel like they're underwater. Like this is a goofy cartoon. Like you're supposed to make some joke out of this, but like they could have like better. Like they could have made a bench machine that's like underwater themed, and it would have been funny. But the concept that like something just smashes your arms continually, it's just like the line of stupid.
Right, exactly.
Right? It's like it just crosses that line of like, okay, this is a bit hokey. There's a part of it. But the real thing is, here's the real thing though. Like working out, when you get stronger, what you're doing is you're ripping your muscle.
Right. Yeah.
And so you're stretching your muscle out, you're ripping it, you're exhausting it, and then it recovers. So possibly, I bet the arm cruncher could do something.
But it didn't also break your bones.
That's true. But I wonder if your bones come back stronger.
Maybe.
Maybe they're onto something. They're pitching all kinds of ideas here.
Yeah,
subscription service to be skinny.
This is like a Shark Tank episode.
I know. It's a Shark Tank that was not a Shark. It was like pre-Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Maybe this is where like Mark Cuban came up with half of his ideas. He was watching SpongeBob and he was just amazed that nobody was doing like over analysis of these episodes to try to pull out all the different ideas that they were going with. What did you find in this episode?
So this is a fan theory from Lonnie Schwarzenegger 223 on Reddit. Here she says, I hear from a friend of a friend that Arnold Schwarzenegger actually uses the anchor arms.
Wow.
He actually could only bench a muffin.
That's pretty specific. A muffin?
A muffin. I mean, the man loves his muffin, right? It's just
maybe he was like a Starbucks worker and like some like fan was like, hey, will you bench this muffin?
And he was like, yes.
And then Arnold said yes. And then he like pretended like he couldn't for the picture. And this guy's like, I got to go to the internet with this thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger's a fraud.
This seems pretty ridiculous, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know, man. I get it. I get it in one sense that Arnold's like arms do look bodacious.
Right.
They look fake.
That's the best word for it is bodacious.
They look like it's like he's obsessed with something that like no human has ever been that obsessed with.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like it's just insane. But it's also like it's pretty impressive because I mean, the guy can obviously, I just would wonder if like his veins are going to turn into like, like they're just going to dissolve when he's like 80.
Right. Yeah.
It's a very morbid thing to say here on SpongePod, but the man has big veins and I don't know that veins were meant to be that big.
That's true.
That's all I have to say. I'm less trying to like put down Arnold Schwarzenegger and more trying to justify my own lifestyle of not pursuing.
Right. You're like, I don't want my veins to get too big.
Exactly. I don't want to lose. I got to keep up with my figure. My figure dictates eating Taco Bell every other night, So moving right along on to the third act. The third act, SpongeBob shows up to the beach where everyone is getting ripped. and the entire group is just in awe of his new meat pipes. SpongeBob tells his workout routine to the guys at the bar while Sandy walks in and discovers how giant SpongeBob really is. Sandy then invites SpongeBob to join in on the anchor toss competition and registers SpongeBob before he can stop her. Sandy takes the early lead when SpongeBob approaches the anchor with a massive crowd going wild, waiting to see SpongeBob perform. SpongeBob pulls himself together and attempts to pick up the anchor when the air from the muscles then transfer to different parts on his body. When all of a sudden the anchor arms pop, Sandy comes over in disapproval and forces him to work out with her at her tree dome. So here's my biggest criticism I have for this episode is why is SpongeBob trying to get the attention of Sandy?
Yeah,
there has at the element of this is just SpongeBob likes Sandy.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
He has some sort of crush for Sandy or something, because at the very base of this is SpongeBob trying to get Sandy's approval.
Right.
And if there isn't a love connection, then who cares what Sandy thinks of you?
Right, exactly.
Like if you're like a pretty capable sponge who makes a good amount of money in the world,
yeah,
why would you care what this person thinks that you aren't strong enough? Obviously, he's strong enough for his own world. I mean, this is obviously a love connection. What do you think about that?
I think the love connection is definitely a possibility. I will also say it's possible it's like a hero connection. Like SpongeBob views Sandy as like a hero or someone to really look up to. Yeah, someone to really look up to.
See, here's the thing. I just don't see why he has to be over at her house later.
Even at the very end of the episode?
Like at the epilogue. Yeah. Like he's like changing the channels on the television. You're like, why is he there at all? Like he knows that Sandy disapproves of how like weak he is.
Yeah.
Why did he go over there? Oh, maybe they were just having brunch. And Sandy's like, hey, while you're here, why don't we work out?
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to do working out before or after making out?
That's the question that you have to ask yourself.
So I'm just thinking I just think that there's like some under the table type love relationship going on here. And yes, I said it like that. Yes.
I mean, it's funny because in a way, not to say that like SpongeBob invented like Netflix and chill, but like that's kind of what's happening, right? They're like hanging out.
Get yourself TV. Someone who loves you just like Sandy loves SpongeBob. What other cliches can we go with here? The funny thing too here is that like you really do see that the fake arms made him stronger, because like he's like just like he even like kind of approaches it. Yeah. In a way where you're like, oh, he's like, because previously, like we said, 47 pounds, in zero gravity is like the limit for SpongeBob. Yeah. So therefore, I don't know, just these fake arms are just compelling to me.
Oh, yeah. There's, what though, about making him stronger, like there's a part where, obviously he can't lift the anchor, but he goes to the top of the anchor and he like brings it down, and he's a sponge, so he probably doesn't weigh that much, so he kind of brings it down, so it kind of makes him stronger, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's just jarring. What did you find?
So this is a fan theory from Leonardo DiCaprio.
Do you want to read that one more time?
Maybe. This is from Leonardo DiCaprio.
There you go.
2291 from IMDb. Here she says, if you zoom in to the anchors used in this competition, you can clearly see the RSS Titanic is written on one of them.
Oh,
is that
true? There's a cut. Man. Maybe that's why we're getting the attention of Jimmy Cameron.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Jimmy Cameron.
Yeah, we ride on the SpongePod. What are you talking about?
How could I have forgotten the writer of the SpongePod?
There's another SpongeBob. There's another SpongePod.
I am aware.
Oh, no, another one.
Oh, there's another one. Really?
Yeah.
Should we give them mentor advice?
We might, because we have a lead writer of Jimmy Cameron, and I don't know why they would start a SpongePod when they're competing with Avatar.
Right.
Anyway,
Ridiculous.
man, I think there's something to this. That SpongeBob is really like a spin-off of the Titanic movie.
I think there's a lot of sea elements.
There's a lot of evidence. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. Tim, what in the world is on your head?
You mean the squirrel? Sorry. I don't know. Yeah, the squirrel that's on my head, it's very normal. I always have the squirrel with me.
I'm laughing silently. I just want everyone to know. The document just says talk, and Tim went with squirrel. Is that your real hair? Your real wig?
Nope, not my real hair. That's a squirrel.
Tim, remember, as advertisers, we need to build need. So again, is your hair real, or do you wear a wig?
You know what?
Or is it a squirrel?
You know what? Neither. It is a wig. You're right.
Okay, so we're doing an ad for wigs and hair pieces, not Squirrels Incorporated. Well, if you're looking for something to cover your noggin that's not a squirrel and something within the style of Squidward would be interested in, make sure to check out Wigs and Hair Pieces.
What a very on-the-nose name.
Oh, yeah. It's on the nose for not squirrel people. That's for sure. Check out Wigs and Hair Pieces for all your wigs and hair piece needs. And welcome back to the SpongePod. We are here with our fitness consigliere, Steven Gearhart. He is our expert on all things swole. How's it going, Steven?
I'm doing well.
So we're obviously talking about this MuscleBob SquarePants episode where essentially SpongeBob sort of fakes his way to being physically fit. My first question to you is, are there really any proven ways to be both ripped to the bone while still sitting on your couch and eating cheese like it's your job?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
People are always trying to find, kind of the little shortcut way to get big, and without having to put in the effort. But in general, it just takes good old fashioned hard work in order to get the muscles that SpongeBob wants.
So even if it's not necessarily being ripped, is there like much of a path to someone just looking decent and still like eating vast amounts of gummy bears?
In general, no. I think that the only time that people can generally eat whatever they want and still stay skinny, they're also usually using some other illegal substances.
Oh, interesting. We'll have to talk about that off air. If food is so good, then why is sweating so annoying?
Well, I think sweating
is it just a comfort thing?
Yeah, I just think sweating's just annoying because it's not comfortable.
That's true.
But
that's true.
Food is delicious.
That's true. That's true. I think that question was just more me being hungry in this moment.
That's fair.
Does lifting really rip your muscle before like it grows back? Like, what is the process of lifting?
Yeah, so when your muscles are getting stronger, essentially what you're doing is you're causing damage in your muscles so that it like basically will then regenerate and repair to be better and stronger.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the process it goes through. It's not really like, I think ripping sounds like a little too severe of a term, but like
okay.
it's like almost causing muscle damage to heal stronger.
Gotcha. So with that in mind, is one's stomach a muscle? So like if I were to eat a lot of food, am I really just working out my stomach?
Actually, yeah. Stomach is a muscle. I mean, and then you've got those eating competition people, like they actually train for that.
Wow.
And so, like as they're actually having to like train for different eating competitions, like they're definitely working on it and having to practice in order to be able to eat more. So like Joey Chestnut, like he works on his craft.
Yeah, he's like the Tom Brady of.
Oh yeah,
he's the GOAT.
Oh yeah,
yeah. My last question for you, Steven, and thanks for helping us to understand this episode better, because obviously in the episode, SpongeBob sort of fakes his way to being strong, and I don't think anybody really agrees with that, but hey, it worked out for him. Do you think that Jesus was swole?
I would say that Jesus was probably pretty well fit.
He was a carpenter.
And so he had to be good with his hands, at least enough to be a carpenter. But then also on top of it, like, I just think that, back when Jesus was around
harder.
and all that stuff, well, like just walking around everywhere, like in our society and stuff, we just get to sit around, whether it's in a pineapple or a boatmobile, then like you can just kind of sit around and not do anything. But
and
they had
to walk everywhere.
They had to walk everywhere and do everything
without Gold Bond. Could you imagine?
Oh, it'd be rough. And then you don't even get any Krusty Krabs to fulfill your hunger,
That would be daunting. And well, hey, thanks for joining us here on the SpongePod.
I'm glad I could help.
Absolutely. All right, that was the SpongePod. Big thank you for Steven for getting swole with us here on the SpongePod. That was a great episode. I'm really happy about watching that episode. That was a fun episode to watch. Glad you could join us here on the SpongePod. Hope you enjoy your Saturday morning cartoons. Our data researchist is James Harrison. Our associate producer is Rob Gronkowski. Our creative producer is TJ Watt. Child care producer is Christina Crosley. Our office assistant is Zach Cooper. Our audio engineer is Jessica Brummett. Our music by DJ Eugene, and music and cover art by the man, the myth, the Milky, Michael G. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Email us questions at thespongepod@gmail.com. I just got to say, I'm really happy about this. It's so much fun to be back doing the SpongePod, laughing about dumb stuff. I'm glad we're here doing it. I'm glad you're listening. And yo, Adrian, I watch SpongePod and SpongeBob.
It's both of them.
It's both of them.
See, I didn't look at the answer, but I know that one is definitely from Rambo. I mean, Rocky.
Thanks for listening.